Check this out. I've got the FIFINE AmpliGame SC3. We're going to dive into this together today and see what this audio mixer has to offer. So this is the SC3 audio mixer from FIFINE. We're going to start out by going over some of the overall construction of the device, and then we'll dive into a few more of the features and other functionality later on. When I first took this out of the box, I was kind of surprised at how light it was, and it does actually have a pretty nice small footprint on it, which is great for when you have it on your desk or something. You don't want it to take up a whole ton of space, but yet it still has a whole bunch of features built into it. Now it has a solid plastic housing on it, which feels pretty sturdy. On the front, we've got our 4 main faders here for our 4 different channels: microphone, line in, headphone, and line out, surrounded by a handful of rubberized coated buttons on the top that do illuminate with RGB lights. On the back, we have our different inputs here. The interesting part of the microphone portion is not only do we have an XLR port on the back, but then it also has a spot for a 3.5mm auxiliary headset jack that you could plug in a headset microphone as well. And then it's got a switch to toggle between condenser and dynamic microphones, followed by your additional auxiliary ports on the back that match up with your faders on the front for your line in, your headphone, and line out, as well as your USB connection to hook it up to your computer. Of course, we do have the RGB lighting around the outside. I feel like that comes pretty much standard in any gaming device nowadays. And the only downfall I would say to the construction of the device was that there is a little bit of side-to-side slop in the fader knobs. Now, I don't expect there to be a ton of pressure applied to those very often, and once you have things adjusted, you typically don't touch them that much, but it would be interesting to see how well they hold up over time. Now, with the 4 channels on this device, like I said, being microphone, line in, headphone, line out, it does give you a lot of flexibility to use this device to connect between many different devices, whether you're hooking it up to a computer to do live streaming or recording, things like that. I'm actually running the audio from this device out of the line out directly into my camera right now, so that's why you're hearing me through this microphone I have plugged in here. And you could do a lot of different things, whether you have 2 computers for live streaming. You could use a line in and line out to go from one computer to another. However, I will note that you only get 1 channel in and 1 channel out on a digital perspective when you're hooked up to a computer. So unlike other devices, you don't get a bunch of different channels like something like an interface, like a Go XLR or something would have. You only get the 1 channel in and 1 channel out digitally to your computer, but you are able to mix and match the volumes of different devices through the 3.5mm auxiliary ports on the back with the 4 different channels that do give you flexibility for that. So going back to that switch on the back end for the microphone here, we do have a toggle between condenser and dynamic microphones depending on what you're using at the time. Now, you don't get a fine-tune adjustment of the gain from those 2 devices, but I believe that switch just automatically changes the gain from one to the other depending on what type of microphone you're using, and it definitely does make a difference to make sure that you're on the right setting. We also have a 48-volt phantom power on the front here for condenser microphones like the one I'm using now, that you will be able to toggle on and off depending on what it is that you need. Now, if I were to switch to another microphone like this dynamic AM8 from FIFINE, then we would switch the other way, and we don't need the phantom power for this type of microphone. So it allows you a little bit of flexibility with that to be able to plug in different types of microphones and use them through the same device. You just have to flip the switch and adjust the settings as you need, so you can use this in multiple different occasions. Another feature that I definitely like, and I feel like it's kind of a must-have for devices like this, is being able to plug my headphones into the back of the device and then use the mic monitoring button to actually listen to myself and be able to make sure that the microphone sounds the way I want it to when I'm setting things up and testing things out. I know some people don't like to listen to themselves when they're actually using that, but being able to toggle that on and off with the push of a button is pretty handy, and I think that's a feature that any mixer or interface really should have. We do have a few additional features on here, like the voice changing features. Now, personally, to me, I feel like these are kind of gimmicky features because not something you're typically going to use very often, but if you do decide that all of a sudden you want to
sound like a monster or something crazy like that, then you do have the features built in here with a few different pre-built, pre-installed voice changer options.
And then if you want to use the extra buttons, there are 4 custom buttons on here as well that you could pre-program to be whatever it is that you want to use, whether it's transitions for a live stream or sound effects or different things. You can get creative with those and use those different buttons for whatever it is that you want to do, whether you're podcasting, live streaming, recording videos like this. You could do different things with those buttons as well, and they are available for you to use. Probably the biggest advantage the SC3 has is the affordable price tag, coming in at only $50. This is a very affordable option to allow you to hook up your XLR microphones to your other devices like your computer, or even in my case, like I'm hooking up to my camera here with my shotgun microphone. I think there's a lot of versatility to this device, allowing you to plug in different inputs and outputs and adjust your volumes the way you want them to be so that everything is just the way you need it. I will mention that if you're planning on using a device like this for something like recording gaming videos, you do not get multiple output tracks while you're using this device. So I typically like to record my audio tracks when I'm making gaming videos in 3 different tracks. So I have my microphone, my game chat, and my voice chat separated. And with this device, you do not get that. You only get 1 input and 1 output, and it does not have any additional software, as far as I'm aware of, that allows you to have flexibility with different tracks. So you do get to mix all your volumes how you want them here. So you got to make sure that they're right when you're sending them to OBS or something like that, because you only get 1 single output track. For only $50, you can't go wrong with the SC3, whether it's the main audio device at your setup or you have an extra one laying around like I do for creative setups like this. It gives you the quality you need and allows you to take all your devices and mix your audio together to the perfect levels just the way you need it.